Hello, hello. How are you? Good evening. Welcome back to Life Trials with EAC. Yours truly, Elizabeth. How are you guys? Good evening. I'm so grateful to have you guys this evening on this beautiful Thursday. It is about, 8:50 p.m. on the eastern side of Florida. How are you guys? I hope everything is going well on this beautiful evening. I actually have some very interesting things to discuss with you this evening. And I have a very special person here this evening. His name is Alex. He is an intelligence analyst. And how are you guys doing this evening? How are you, Alex?
I'm doing good. I'm just waiting for this to start.
Oh, like kill me. Well, I know. Welcome back. It's been a few... I would say days that I've been on the show. Been working a lot, been fairly busy, and a lot of people don't know what's going on, but we can definitely keep that afloat of this evening because I'm actually bringing you guys something a little bit different this evening. So Alex here, he's a fairly peculiar individual, and he wants to actually interview me, yours truly, Elizabeth, the founder of this podcast. And I thought that was actually intriguing because I haven't had actually anybody interview me on my own podcast. So when this was pronounced to me, I thought that was, kind of bizarre. And then who better yet to do this to with my new friend, Alex. He's fairly awesome. He has a lot of intake and knowledge, and he actually served our country, and he's actually from Russia. Because it's just fucking crazy how much we've heard on the news about Russia. And tell me, does he look Russian? I think he's cute. He's a very sexy guy. What's up, Alex? How are you?
Are you selling me now?
I know. I'm not gonna sell you for me.
No.
I'm not gonna sell you. Are you crazy?
I'm good.
Doing good?
Yeah. So you ready for this?
Am I? Oh my God.
Whether you're ready or not, here it comes. But audience?
Ay, pinga.
So
Alex.
I guess the way
Wait. You have to tell everybody who you are, your background,
Right.
and you gotta say hello in Russian first, please, because it's sexy.
Okay.
Say it.
Привет.
Привет. No,
Everybody,
do it sexier.
Oh,
Привет.
you can't just put me on the spot and expect me to do that.
Привет.
So for the audience, my name is Alex. What's my background? I did military, American military. I was in the Marines. I did intelligence in the Marines. After I finished with that, I ended up doing some private contracting for the government, doing intelligence. Finished with that. Did some private investigations. Went through police academy. Did security. A lot of security work, a lot of bodyguarding, stuff like that. So my expertise is kind of there. Yeah.
I think it's hot. Security. But I don't know, it's just like how our government has perceived the whole country of Russia. I think that's been like the biggest intriguing factor. So what better yet to have like a Russian host my fucking podcast. Like my best friend is Russian. Ksenia. Hola. She is amazing. I hope you guys meet each other someday. Probably talk shit about me, but whatever.
We probably will in Russian, so you don't know. Okay.
So I'm excited to have you here. I think this is going to be awesome. So please, the floor is yours, my love.
Okay, so I think we need to start out by the fact how this whole thing happened. Instead of, so I guess, about a week ago or so, we were talking, and Liz was talking about interviewing me and doing a podcast, and I was very comprehensive. I didn't really want to do it, never done it before. So she goes, okay, so what about you interview me first, and then I'll interview you next. So that's how it came about. So now I had to do a little bit of research about Liz, about her personal life and everything else, and came up with a couple of questions for her, and we'll see how it goes. I've been scaring her
It's really
lately.
funny.
I've been telling her that I have a lot of really crazy questions for her. So she's like,
He literally has.
maybe I don't want to do this anymore. So,
I'm like, what
I'll
the
change my mind.
fuck?
I know.
Are you kidding?
Listen,
Are you
you
kidding?
know, you want to keep your podcast live and raw. So, we just want to go with the flow. You can't just,
But I think our mutual interest has been the fact that you are from Russia and you came to this country and you served our country. And I think that's been the biggest mutual factor that, like, I just find so intriguing about you and your background. And obviously we have a lot more to talk about than specific other conversations that me and him have about, but whatever, that's like for later in the episode.
We're gonna have another podcast apparently, the one that you were gonna put me down and you're gonna ask me a bunch of questions and I have to sit there and answer everything like I'm in the, what do you call it? I think you said that you're gonna interrogate me.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we'll see.
Oh shit.
All right. So I think for tonight, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about Liz. We're gonna talk about Liz, about her upbringing. How she came up, her modeling experience, her education, the college degree, and then at the end of it, we're gonna start getting a little bit more personal, just to see how she's can handle it and what she can tell us. Because she's been talking, like, I've heard some of her podcasts, and she always talks about the personal relationships and what happens and this and this and that. So we'll see how she's gonna talk about it. She likes to put other people on the spot, and tonight it's a little different. She's gonna be on the spot.
I can't wait.
All
Let's
right,
get it.
So let's start it. All right. So Liz, since your background is Cuban and Irish,
Wow.
and you grew up in Miami, out of all the places, let's start from that. Just tell us about, like, you in a young age, growing up, going through what? Did you live in Hialeah?
No, never, bro.
Oh, okay.
So I lived in a place called Kendall.
It's a little Hialeah. It's right next to it.
No, it's fairly far because you have Sunset, Miller, Bird Road, 8th Street, then First Street, and then Hialeah was more west. So that's coming up this area towards Davie. So I was actually born in New York, raised in South Florida out here in Miami-Dade County, but now I live in Broward County. And it's actually interesting because my father is American Irish and my mom is of Cuban descent. And it's just been a very weird intermix of two psychotic cultures together. I think it's just two hotheads just mutually trying to have a cohesive, I guess, relationship. And I don't think that worked out for them because they're both just looking at the two culture, like the cultures separately. I think that they're just very heated, passionate type of people. And I think that it's more perceived on the more anger side. So then you just have two of the same people, but just from two separate cultures, and then just coming together and trying to have, replicate that psychoticness. And then I would say definitely my sister's the complete opposite of me. She's actually really nice and she is just very agreeable and she's just a very good person in that sense. Like she is definitely a housewife type, I would say, for sure.
So what you're saying is that you are opposite of a housewife, or you're not a good person and all of that, since you're telling me that you are a complete opposite of her.
Well, she is the average, like, I guess the norm. I'm not the norm. She fits the norm standard or the norm criteria, you could say. I don't. I'm fairly different. I think I could be a housewife, but it's just, I'm not the yes man. She is definitely the yes man. And that's how my mom is. And it just really depends because the cultures are just extremely different. And then my upbringing really... It's very weird because I went to public school and it was very difficult. More like, I don't know, growing up in South Florida, more in Miami, I would say. You definitely had to work a lot harder than a lot of your counterparts. And, I mean, my parents did the best that they could. They were, to my advantage the best, and I had great grandparents that came to this country from Cuba, and they definitely taught us the I guess the sense of it having integrity and being ethical in what you do and who you are as a person, and being passionate and just really portraying that and projecting that on other people, and just assuring that people get that sense of like happiness and just really can, benefit from your existence. And I just think that it's hard nowadays to find people that are like, in that energy, you could say, that are positive and they want the best for you and their group of people or their circle of people. I don't know. It's weird because I didn't grow up rich or anything like that. Everything I've had to work for, that's for sure.
Oh, no, I mean, I agree. And also, let's be very realistic. I think with everything that's going on right now with COVID, with the whole presidential elections, the whole 9 yards, the norm is not your typical norm anymore.
No, it's not.
But we're going to get into the politics in a little bit later, So in one of your podcasts, I guess what you were telling me about that your parents were like, hey, listen, they didn't really like you to do the modeling. They didn't want you to do dancing, none of that. They were more into the education. Get this, get that, go to college, get education. So talk to me a little bit more about that.
I guess it's more in the Cuban culture that like everything was equating being a professional with being rich or being of the status quo. And I think that's a problem in our society, that it really just depends on the culture that you are like raised in, and they just don't understand like how it is, or the modernized like sector of the economy, and they just really didn't understand about because they come from Cuba. And Cuba is everything is a win, or it's like a loser-win situation. And it's like you must achieve a certain thing. Versus in America, you can do and live a certain lifestyle. You don't have to live in South Florida and be able to live the lifestyle that you want. You can go and move to Kentucky, or you can move to even like Orlando and be able to buy a home, a reasonable single-family home, and drive a Maserati or whatever the fuck. And I think that people that come from Cuba just don't have an understanding of that aspect, that you are able to do those things. It's just not in South Florida, because it is financially just an uneven playing field here. So I don't know. It's really hard in that sense to describe that specific aspect of it, because I spent 10 years of my like life from when I was fucking 18 years old to I was 28, where I spent 10 years of my life doing my academics, which is what you see behind me. And I spent a lot of time. I did my bachelor's that took about 5 years, and then I studied for the LSAT, which took me a year and a half to study just to get into law school. And then I went to law school, and I just didn't like the actual school that I was going to, so I withdrew from that school, and then I went off to business school, and then I graduated from Nova's business school last year, and I still have 2 years left of law school. And I don't know, I'm 29 now, and I've spent a lot of time doing my academics. And did I benefit a lot from that? I don't think so in that perspective, because I was out of the labor force for so long, and I didn't get a lot of work experience because I was so fixated on achieving academic success versus entrepreneurial success. So I think that it depends on the culture that you're raised in, that impacts the like what you can achieve in your life, because you obviously follow your family and all that stuff and what they want you to have and all of that. So I don't know, it sucks.
I mean, I definitely understand that part. I mean, being Russian, I think Cuban and Russian culture is pretty close to each other, considering the fact that early 60s, 70s, 80s, Russians occupied Cuba more or less. No, I get it. And honestly, it's funny that you said that about going to college and you don't think that you really gathered or gained that much out of it. Because I went to Miami-Dade. I only got about, I took, because I went to Miami-Dade and I was trying to get a degree there. But honestly, I don't feel like it was all that great. A lot of knowledge that I gained there was a couple of classes that were amazing. I get it. But I think
and I did my associates, my bachelor's, master's, and now I just need to finish my Juris Doctorate. That's all I'm left with. So
then we can call you Dr. Liz?
No. It's like Esquire. I'll have Esquire at the end of my last name. That's it.
That's all you get after all that time?
Yeah, pretty much.
all this time spent in school is like, hey, ESQ, congratulations. You have something to show for it for the rest of your life.
That's pretty much it. And, you know, it's all, I think, just more of a status quo, stature type of thing. I think that a lot of people just, like, strive to achieve, and as if that's, like, the most important thing ever. And I think something that I've learned is that, like, being an attorney is not the most important thing, because remember, like, attorneys work for other people. They don't work for themselves. So you will always have to work for somebody else. And I think that learning that has just been my biggest just setback in that sense, because it's just not something that I want at that moment. Like,
you know, funny thing that you said that about attorneys. I really have not had a lot of good experience with attorneys.
Yeah.
And my very first experience with an attorney was actually, you know, just make a note of it. You ask me that when you get an interview, ask me about it, and I'll tell you the story, because I
tell me.
You want me to tell you right now?
Why not?
Okay, so like I said, I was in the Marine Corps. I did intelligence. When you do intelligence, you get access to a lot of classified information, so you have to be very squeaky clean. No drugs, no DUIs, nothing crazy. You have to be really, really, like, straight edge. You make a step to the right, you make a step to the left, and your career might be over within the seconds, because once they take away your clearance, you cannot do your job anymore. Long story short, I was dating somebody, and we ended up hanging out at her friend's place, and her friend's boyfriend was an attorney. So the very first thing that the guy told me when he met me, we're outside. I smoke cigarettes. Back then I was smoking a cigarette. I'm standing on the balcony smoking a cigarette, and a guy comes up to me, just pulls out a baggie, start putting some coke on his hand and starts snorting. He goes, "You want some?" I'm like, "No, thank you."
Oh, God.
He goes, "No, come on, dude. It's great." I'm like, and this is after he already told me he's an attorney. I'm like, no, I appreciate it. No, thank you. I don't want it. He goes, no, you don't understand. That's like the thing. That's like the shit.
Oh, God.
I'm like, dude, no, thank you. I appreciate it. No, not so much. He goes, no, but you don't understand. I was like, dude, just back up. Like, I don't want no coke. I don't want no drugs. I don't smoke weed. I don't do drugs. I don't do none of that. He goes, oh, well, you know, you don't know what you're missing on. You know, I'm like,
oh, God.
And at the same time, when this happens, I had to take a step back. I'm like, dude, you were an attorney that's supposedly like, hey, man, you know, I'm providing you all these things about law and this and this and that. And here I am, one of the biggest cokeheads in the world. And then later on, as I was dating the girl, her friend was keep telling me all these stories, how he got coked out, did this and that. And I'm like, wow, my very first experience with an attorney was pretty freaking horrible.
So yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best career, that's for sure. You're just solving people's problems.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could be really good at that, and you might be good at that.
That I'm good at. Like solving problems. I was about to say enabling them, but definitely not.
Yeah, didn't we just have this conversation earlier about women enabling men to do crazy things? So you're an enabler, huh?
No, never
right.
That.
You know, and it's funny because over the last, because you were just telling me all those things, and you kind of killed like the first 3 of my questions that I had for you, because you talked about being the Cuban, the law school, and everything else. I was actually going to ask you about why you didn't like the law school, but you just said why didn't you want to do the law school anymore?
So it wasn't like the study of law. It was just the school itself. And I think that's the biggest problem in this country, is that the academic institutions they don't provide a good, I guess, salesmanship when they're selling their schools to you, because it is a business. And I think that a lot of these schools just try to fraud people and just set people up and not even have an understanding as to like how real life actually works. And that real life is not just about giving up your entire life and not working and living at your parents' house or your grandparents' house just to pursue a professional career. And I think that's so detrimental to this country. And that's why I think there's such a lack of doctors, even for instance, because people don't actually want to go through the rigorous study of being a doctor. And that I think that with the whole COVID thing, that was brought to the forefront that we have such a lack of doctors because people don't want to spend between 10 to 15 years just studying to be a doctor, and then you won't even be a doctor till you're like 40. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, and then imagine being an attorney is just 3 years, but I mean, you're in a lot of debt. And I think that the circumstances that I was in, where I was away from my family, my friends, just really a more comfortable setting to actually pursue that endeavor, I think was just the main factor why I left that school, and I had to work on my relationship at that time. That was just more of a facade. But you know, law school itself it sucks. It like sucks in this country. It's just like all about competition. Everything is a curve. It's not like not everybody can get A's, B's, and then obviously if you fall under anything under a B minus, you're just garbage. And then you're ridiculed for that. And I think that that's the biggest problem with law school. But I have to finish. I have 2 years left, and I will finish. I just need to find the right time to do it because it is a financial investment that you must understand and take from the onset and understand from the onset. And I think that at my age at that time when I was 25, I didn't understand that. Now I have a better understanding of that financial risk that you must take, because I wasted a year of school and I wasted like 40 grand, and 40 grand is not just like, you know, like toilet paper you can wipe your ass with. It's money that you invested, time. And it's not even more about the money, it's about the time invested. And I think that's the more broader sense of that you must think about it, about the time invested. And I think that I didn't think about it at that time because I was just doing what I needed to do based on the like pressure at that moment. So now I'm in a better place because I went to do my master's, and I think I have a better foundation to do law school now because I'm a better writer. I have better research skills and more analytical skills, and I think that's really important when you go to law school. So
no, I'm laughing because I have to go through the same thing. Like I completely understand. No, listen, I totally get it. Like I said, like Liz said, I was doing intelligence in the Marine Corps, and when I first got into that, it was I couldn't write, I couldn't speak, I couldn't do a lot of analytics, and then it was a rough process to get through. That's why I'm laughing. I completely get it.
I felt like I was in law school like 25, like I couldn't argue properly because I was just I don't know.
But now that you're doing your doctors, you can like, oh, I can argue very well now. You know, just whatever you want.
A little bit different. I mean, I have my
I have my skills.
Masters, so not my doctorates. Shit.
You're working your doctorates, right?
My Juris Doctorates. So,
right. So, all of that time you spent doing your academics and everything else, and how did you end up doing modeling? Like, how did that just come about? Was it just like, did it just fall right into your lab?
I literally did.
Oh, yeah.
It was just more like of a pressure thing. Because of the relationship I was in at that moment, it was like more like projected on me that I must do this, and if not, like I was not complying with the certain female standard of that moment. And I think it fucking sucked because I was doing my academics for so long that I didn't have an idea as to how I would maneuver that. So I was kind of just thrown into the like wolves den, I guess, and it fucking sucks because I had to like deal with a lot of shit and just had a lot of haters and a lot of people that didn't understand that I was just thrown into like the woods and was just said, go figure it out. And that's kind of like what I did. It was just figure out from the bottom, and I grew my way up so quickly. And I just really have not ever felt that it was fulfilling internally. And the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my personal life is pursuing my like legal career. And that's like more of it's based more on an intellectual sense versus the modeling that's based more on the physical aspect of life. And I felt that that's something that I didn't actually learn till probably recently, that I've realized that I appreciate a lot more the intellectual pursuit of things versus the physical pursuit of things, if that makes sense. Because modeling is just based on how you look, how you feel, and how you look and how you feel versus, you know, an intellectual sense that people will base that on the, just so many other factors like cognitively speaking, you know, can have different, you know, factors where you're analytically pursuing something, where you're strategically understanding things and trying to like create things, and then more based on the intellectual property aspect where you can invent things. So to me, I base that more on the academic sense of my life versus the physical aspect of it, where modeling has just been really based on the physical sense as to how I look, how my hair looks, whether it was when I had red hair, whether it was now as a blonde, it doesn't matter. It's just all based on a physical factor versus an intellectual factor. Kind of got like a tongue twister there because there's just so much to that aspect, intellectually speaking, because there's just so many, you know, dynamics of this like pyramid, you can say, that there's so much more that I want to conquer in my life, intellectually speaking versus physically speaking. And I feel that I've reached the like high tier of that physical being, that I am hot, I have like the body, whatever. And it's like, it's fucking whack. It's like, okay, what's next? What, like, you know, so I wish I would have, like, for instance, I wish I would have studied meteorology or astronomy versus like political science. I wish every day I would have studied that, because like to me that's more intriguing versus the, you know, I guess assessment of politics, you know. So I don't know, there's just so much to like modeling that becomes just not fulfilling anymore. It's hot, but whatever, you know.
Well, listen, I guess at some point of the time when you have your when you reach a certain level, you gotta move on, or you gotta just get to something else, you know.
Yeah,
I get it. I completely understand. So now that you're talking about that, what's next? What are you gonna do next? What is your plan? What are you planning on doing next? Come on.
I don't know. I need a break in my life right now. I've gone through a lot, and you know.
When you're talking about you've gone through a lot, you're talking about personal side?
Yeah, a lot of personal stuff, and you know, I just need a break with life right now. I did my academics for 10 years. Finished business school last year. I haven't done fucking any vacation. I want to go to Tulum. Who wants to take me to Tulum?
All right, everybody take a note.
Take me to Tulum.
The first one.
Fuck.
The first one to take you to Tulum and wins it.
Fuck, bro.
So, you know, since you're talking about a relationship, I've heard you talk a lot on your podcast about the good man in relationships. So let's switch that gear a little bit and, you know, move on a little bit more into the personal side. So, like I said, I've heard you say a lot about, you know, you got to take care of a good man and this and this and that, and stop doing this and stop doing that. You got to take care of a good man. So talk to me about that. Who do you consider to be as a good man? The one that's going to take you wherever you want to go.
So what I mean in the sense of like we need to protect good men is that we need to not make these judgments that the whole Me Too movement has done, where you have a lot of women that will proclaim like, oh my God, sexual harassment, sexual this, that, whatever. And they don't understand that like there are good men out there, and that there are good people that have good intentions, and that there might be incidents that like just really complicate a lot of those, you know, aspects. So I think that we cannot make such profound judgments, because I have had personal experience where I've actually been around very bad people and bad men, and like when you do meet good men, you need to protect them. You need to assure that they are protected. We cannot like fucking terminate or like exterminate the fuck out of like the man culture, because the woman can do everything. No.
So hold on a second. So just go back a little bit. So define as a good man. What do you mean by the good man? Yeah, we heard that you'd say that.
Like people who are like consistent, that are loyal, loving, and caring. And it's just more about the consistency, because everything comes like with time and due time. And I think that's so important, that like women have to understand that things are like about involvement. You have to evolve. Things take and happen with the progress of evolvement. And if you don't see it in that sense, then you're just going to be rushing from almost to first base to like third base, and you're not letting things, progress. And I think that not in the political sense, but more about just letting things evolve. And you have to understand that a good man will always love you and care about you, and just will always understand and take the time to understand. And I think that's the lack of what's, I guess it's like a lack of understanding that's happening in our society right now with the internet, the media, so many other factors, obviously, but academics as well, is terminating the superiority that men have in our society that we need, because the same women that project the whole feminism bullshit and that say, oh my God, men are not needed in the same role that a man plays in a fatherly role, that's not accurate, because we need men to play that role, because I'm not going to be a father. That's not my job to be a father, especially if I'm going to have a child. That doesn't make sense. Like, why would I want to play that role? Like, that's fucking creepy. Like, I can't play both roles. I can't be a fucking mother, father, caregiver, pee-pee caca pee-pee, like picking up her, fucking housekeeper, lawnmower, whatever. Like, you got me? Like, it's just a facade on its face. So I think that like society has created this like facade that we don't need men, but in reality, behind closed doors, men are needed in every aspect of life. And it's just really insane. I think that what the media projects men to be, or their role in our society. And I think that it's important that we consistently remind, it's my duty at least to remind my audience that my view and my perspective is that I believe that there are good men out there, and I've experienced certain things that like have enabled very bad behavior amongst men. But I think that in conclusion, that we do need good men around, and that is the conclusion of the situation. There is no getting around that, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, since you're talking about that, maybe you should give some of your female audience some advices on how to keep the good man alive and not exterminated.
I don't know. Because I'm not good at that, obviously.
So no good advice there, huh?
No.
None.
I mean, my ex left me for a woman my mom's age, so I don't know.
Okay, but you were basing it on just one individual. I'm sure there is some things or some advice that you can tell some of your audience about. Hey, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe you should do that.
It's hard because it's like it's a case by case basis. So I think that like we gotta look at it in that perspective, because if we just sit there and say, oh my God, it's like generalizing on one specific man, then I don't know.
No advices at all. No specific advice at all.
I would say that you just really need to be objective and transparent and accountable for your own actions. And I think that as long as we consistently keep ourselves in check, doesn't matter if you're a female, male, transgender, gay, lesbian, black, yellow, green, Russia, Cuban, America, Africa. Like, you need to be accountable for your actions and understand that, like, society is about being human, and it's about being understanding of each other and, like, what, people, and other people's feelings and needs. And we shouldn't live in a society where we just are so, we neglect the objectives of others or the, you know, demands of others, and like just take into consideration and say, okay, I understand this perspective, this is my perspective, and see if there's some remedial action that could be taken with that situation. If there is no cohesive understanding between the two perspectives, then, you know, try to just really come to a collective, you know, consensus, I guess. But it's hard because we live in a time that people just objectively want to disagree to agree, and it's just almost pathetic that we're living in that time, because everything is about social media and who could be better than who, and who's about having all these likes and following and whatever the fuck. And I think that just living in that planet has really stigmatized that whole thing about being understanding and being of understanding of your partner's feelings, or even somebody you're trying to pursue. I don't know, it's weird. We're living in a very weird time, Alex. Like, I don't know, it's very weird. People just care about perception to ultimately lead to deception, I think. I don't know.
Welcome to the social media. I think that's what it boils down to. Personally, I think that's what it boils down to. Social media. Everybody, there is, in my opinion, there's no more things. Hey, let's spend time together and just have a conversation. And I've been paying attention sometimes. Like me personally, like if I want to go out with somebody, yeah, I want to spend time with you. But you look around and you'll see a couple sitting there, and then she's on the phone, he's on the phone,
yeah,
and they're texting somebody else, they're doing all these other things. So weird. And you're like, well, why are you even at the restaurant spending time with each other? Go do something else. You know?
I see that a lot too.
It's all the time. How many times do you like? I mean, listen. I've gone to the place. I'm sitting and talking to the person. I look around. I see like 2 or 3 couples that are sitting there, and maybe like 2 people are kind of having an interaction with each other, and the other ones are on the phone just texting away, doing this. Oh, let me get on Google. Let me get on Amazon. Let me do this. Let me do that.
Yeah.
And this whole situation with people like going on the social media, like I don't have really social media. I don't use it. And I've heard it so many times where you start talking to people, they're like, hey, you know, can I get your number? No, here's my Instagram. Follow me on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, me and my buddy. Me and my buddy were at the bar, we're talking, and then he started to talk to the girl, and she's like, he's like, yeah, you know, listen, you know, if you're single, whatever, can we hang out? She goes, yeah. He goes, well, can I get your number? No. I'm not giving you my number. Here's my Instagram. Follow me.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what is this going on? Like, how many guys do you telling this every day? You got like, and then just out of curiosity, we went and looked up on her Instagram. She has like 1,500 to 1,000 followers. I'm like, dude, that's how many guys is trying to nail it? And she's like, follow my Instagram.
Oh Jesus, fucking whore. Just want to stop following though.
Well, social media whore. I don't know if she's really.
I haven't really tried, honestly. I've worked just like with certain publications, and I don't know. My social media has grown like enormously. That's for sure.
Yeah, but let's be honest. With the COVID that's going on, and everything, nobody really went out. Everybody was on the social media.
Yeah.
Look what's going on right now. Until about 6 months ago, I never heard of OnlyFans. Now everybody talks about OnlyFans. You know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's no more physical interaction between the people.
There really isn't.
It actually reminds me of the movie with Bruce Willis. I forgot what the name of it is. Where Bruce Willis, they all kind of slept in their own rooms, and they used robots to interact with each other. I forgot the name of it.
That's how it feels now.
I might have to look it up right now, actually.
Oh.
But yeah, it's I completely agree. But
shit. I'm like, hey.
Why, you tired? Coffee? You know.
Oh God.
But so kind of like take a little bit of step back, because I kind of completely skipped the whole thing about the politics, and you kind of got into it. So from my experience, well, I would have thought that a lot of models, Playboy models, they're a little bit more liberal. On the other side, you are more Republican, and you're more like pro-gun, pro this, pro that. So let's talk a little about that, a little bit of your political views. And then one of the main questions I kind of want to find out, let's talk about that, and then I'm gonna ask you about a couple of little specific details about certain things. But let's see how did you become a Republican?
So my grandparents came here from Cuba on a raft. Like, they a bunch of their friends in the 1960s decided to create a raft because they were leaving after the Castro regime literally took all their possessions, property, everything. So they sailed for America, and because they perceived America to be the best thing that has ever was invented by the Lord that they served. So they decided to come here to America, and they started their own business. They came here, and it wasn't like what's happening right now at the southwest border, which is an honest fucking tragedy. It's really sad what's actually happening, but they came here, never asked for a dime from the government, and it's just really the upbringing that I had, where we always believed in small government and self-independence and self-responsibility, self-accountability, self-determination, and that anything you wanted to have in this life, you needed to work for, and that nothing was ever going to be given to you, and that nothing was ever going to be handed to you, and that anything you wanted in this life, you must work very hard and endlessly for, and that if you wanted something very big, you better work very hard, because the competition will always try and take you out, and they will take you out, and they will always try to take you out at 100%. If you're looking at the I guess the probability aspect of it as to like what it was, and I think that it's just really based on also my previous relationship and how to see the government, and that small government is the best type of government, and that, you know, everything you wanted or anything you need to achieve in your life needs to be based on a more independent aspect than a more collective consensus. We cannot look at our lives based on the fact of others, because if we do that, then that is just very detrimental. And I just think that the way that I have always seen life is that you need to work for what you want in this life, and that nothing can ever, you're not entitled to anything, and that everything you want and want to aspire to be, you better work for that, and you better like really suffer a lot for that, because then you don't understand the crux of achieving such goals in your life. And it doesn't matter what it is. I think that you just have to understand the journey of struggle, and a lot of people don't understand that, and even a lot of very rich people don't understand that. And I think that's really something insane that I personally experienced through being with some type of person, that this person was a very entitled person, and that they had always been given everything that they wanted in their life. And I think that that was something that I personally struggled with, in characteristically speaking, because I had always learned that working for what you wanted in this life was the most important thing to do. And I will always see life in that aspect, that you must struggle and work and go through things, and like I guess go through certain experiences and get to that, I guess, obstacle, and learn how to overcome such adversity. And what you do to overcome that adversity is what makes you the person that you are today. So that's more of a conservative principle versus a liberal type of perspective of life. I think that liberals see life based on the collective consensus of things, based on like, okay, if I achieve something, we must all achieve it together, and if you have something, I must have it too. And I don't think life is based on that, and I think that we are living in a very ugly time, and it's scary, you know. So I think having, you know, at least in the economic sense, it's important that I'm more economically conservative, and I am socially conservative as well, but there are certain things that I can consider myself like, okay, socially liberal, whatever, because to each his own in that perspective. But then again, I don't think that those two specific public policy issues that I see that I may be liberally perceived, I don't even think it's liberal. I think it's more libertarian, if you can say. So I don't know, it's weird. So we're living in a very weird time, that's for sure.
So let's move on a little bit about the liberal stuff. So let me ask you this: where do you stand on, you know, since you're a Republican, you're more like little bit stricter in certain things, more conservative in certain things. So what is your opinion on drugs? Like, well, and like not just drugs, but let's talk about like, you know, maybe weed or some other things like cocaine or, you know, stuff like that.
I mean, honestly, I don't think you should try anything until you're after like 25, until your brain fully develops and that you can make that type of cohesive understanding, because it is detrimental to your cognitive abilities to form and develop over time if you're an adolescent or a teenager. So medically speaking, I don't have the expertise in that sense, but speaking on a more political sense, I think that children should not have the ability to, like, you know, test out drugs and stuff until you're at least over 25. And I think it's for the betterment of our society, because it sucks. Like, look at what we're becoming, and I've seen it for myself. I know a lot of people who are very young and they're just not, I don't know, they're not there anymore because they do so many drugs and stuff, and they just don't have that perseverance like type of attitude. So if they like don't achieve something, it's like, okay, fuck it, I'll just like drug myself with shit and then just go on to like the next basic thing. And I think that we no longer have that because of maybe drugs. But then again, I know a lot of people that have never tried drugs until they were adults, and that like they understood the ability to differentiate between, you know, having a good time and going out, and then, you know, having responsibilities. So
yeah, doing it recreationally just once in a while, just hey,
yeah,
do this, just kind of take some stress off, and that's it. And then other people are just dependent on it at all times, and then without it, they cannot exist. They cannot do anything.
That's different, you know.
No, I definitely seen it before too. So all right, so what about prostitution? What do you think about that? Because this has been kind of like an ongoing thing for a long time. A lot of people, you know, kind of going back and forth. And what do you think about that?
I mean, it's horrible. You know, I don't think women should ever be in that predicament that they have to sell their bodies and stuff for money. And it's pretty sad, you know, if you have to do something like that, especially in America. America's an amazing place. I think you can aspire to be anything that you want to be in your life, that you don't ever have to, you know, resort to something like that. I think there's just so many opportunities in this country that are afforded to its people that I don't think people ever have to like do such a thing. Then again, it's an easy way to do and make money. I'm not a big fan of that. I've never done that. I don't think anybody should do that, because there's just so many other avenues that you don't have to like sell yourself and sell your soul to the devil like that. It sucks. I don't know. That's a weird question, you know, because people have different views on that, and I just won't like even engage in it, just because, I mean, I've done like, you know, people will equate like the Playboy modeling to me being able to open the door and do anything, like, you know, like assuming that because of the fact that I've had contractual like obligations with Playboy on a number of occasions, like over 7 times with 7 different countries, that they will equate that to me wanting to possibly like sell my fucking, like, me taking videos of myself touching myself and being like, yeah, this is, just do that because you've, you know, done Playboy. And so I think that's an absurd leap to take, because it just doesn't correlate between the two. But prostitution, I think in the day and age that we live in, I mean, you could just fucking have an OnlyFans account and just sell pictures of your pussy, you're getting fucked, and you don't ever have to prostitute a day in your life. So I don't even know anymore about prostitution, because that's fucking crazy. I think now it's like 2021, like, you sell your vagina on OnlyFans and make a lot of money. $25.99.
Hey, anybody listening, you know, if you wanted about your next career move, there you go, right there. OnlyFans.
I mean, I have an OnlyFans. I've been doing pretty good lately too.
Oh. Oh. Is there something you're not telling us? Is there something you're not telling us? Okay, we're not private there. Okay, fair enough. But since we're talking about the private things,
my OnlyFans. Get it on my website.
Yeah, tell them about that. What?
You can get it. Or you can also donate to it to my website if you wanted. If you didn't have to see me naked and stuff.
Are you gonna tell them? You gotta promote your OnlyFans account. That's what we went into. All right. Speaking about all the private things, all right. So you have a tattoo. If I'm not mistaken, you have a tattoo of Taranto on your back, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not expecting that one. So talk to me about that.
I don't remember. No, I have no answer to that. Ask my fucking mother. I don't know, bro. I did it when I was 16, man.
So,
I'm 29 now, so I don't remember,
You
bro.
don't even remember why you did it?
I have no idea.
It was just like,
I literally have no fucking cohesive, like, understanding of why the fuck I would do something like that. Put it on my body. Because I would do anything to remove it from my body. Like, I want to do tattoo removal. I hate it. I hate it so fucking much.
I would have thought, I was expecting some kind of explanation about it or something.
Oh, no, I really don't have an explanation, actually. Because there isn't one. I fucking hate it. It's so ugly.
I don't know. I don't have any tattoos.
So stupid. I bet, like, people have looked at it like, what the fuck is that, bitch? Like, why do you even have that?
Well,
I don't even know, because I have a cross on my back. I have, like, all this other shit. So we were like, what the fuck is this tarantula? Like, are you, like, is that a real spider? Like, quítate, bingo. Think it's, like, fake or something, or, like, it's a real thing. Like, I've actually had, like, a guy, like, once, like, I don't know, like 6 years ago, he thought it was real. He's, like, fucking hitting me and shit.
He thought it was real? Are you serious?
I don't know if he was, like, drunk or something, but he was, like, hitting my back. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I guess he was drunk or something. I don't even remember that shit. That's so weird. I don't remember who that was either.
Were you drunk or were you sober when that happened?
I don't remember. It was, like, before I was, like, fucking, I don't know.
Plead the fifth?
Pretty much.
Plead the fifth, all right? So there's some things we do not want to discuss, huh?
No.
Okay, all right. We can go with that. All right.
And there you go.
All right.
Privyeta.
Yeah, you're going to give a shout out to all the Russians?
Russia.
All right.
Putin. Let's go on your horse.
Is that who you would have voted for if Putin would have ran for president?
Hell yeah. If it was Putin versus Biden, Putin! Privyeta!
You better be careful, you liberal. Some of your
Privyeta.
some of your liberal listeners may be like, just screw it, never listen to her again.
Oh, whatever. Suck my fucking asshole. I don't give a fuck.
Ooh, since we're talking about that.
Hey,
No. Well, let's talk about that. What are some do's and don'ts of your sexual life? If you want to talk about it, since you're talking about like somebody sucking your asshole.
I don't have a sexual life. I'm like a virgin. I've only had sex with like less than like 5 people. I've only had 3 boyfriends my whole life.
I like it how she goes like this and she pulls out all the 5 fingers and it's like, wait, only 3
boyfriends, or it's 4? I think it's been 3. It's only been Yandro, Daniel, and William. That's it.
All right, but seriously, like, but there has to be some do's and don'ts. There has to be something.
I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird.
To me, sex is like, I don't know, the way that I was raised, they didn't let us like fuck at all. They're like, oh my God, sex is like the devil, so don't do it because you're the devil. So I don't know, that was like our upbringing. So like sex was like XX, like bad. I mean, so I didn't really understand about sex until I was about like, honestly, 25. Like I didn't really get a good grip of what sex really entailed, like giving oral sex, all that stuff. Like I had my first, like I lost my virgin. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Actually, I've had sex with 4 people. 5?
Wow.
Probably really more than that, but whatever.
Wow.
I don't even know. But I've only taken 3 guys seriously, so.
So you still are kind of trying to avoid all the answers. Do's and don'ts. I only got 3 people. No. Let's
I don't know. It's hard because it depends on the person. People are so peculiar, but I think that oral sex is the determinative factor. Because I know a lot of like I met a lot of men who have told me that they've experienced sexual encounters that they've not like had their dick sucked, and like women that have not had like, you know, oral sex. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's so crazy. Like, I would never have sex with a guy that I cannot like suck his dick, or I cannot, like, a guy doesn't want to eat me out. Like, that's creepy, you know? I don't know.
It's creepy.
Yeah, I think that's fucking gross. Like, a guy that does not give head is like, you're gay. And I know gay men. My best friend is gay, Charlie. Hey. And we talk about it all the time. And yeah, like, they don't even see it like that. So it's kind of weird. Like, a man that does not like give head. It's kind of weird.
Oh, okay, I can agree with that part, you know. But some girls should really have. Some girls should really take care of themselves before they want to get.
Oh no, I mean, you know, like, I'm big on that. Like, I would never have sex without like showering and being prepared. And I mean, that's disgusting. Like, you just have to be, you know. I'm a very clean person. I think that I learned that from my second relationship. Like, I shower the moment I wake up. So I wake up, shower, go to the gym, shower again, and then I'll shower later in the day. So I'm just a very psychotic person in that sense, that I need to be constantly clean. But that's not just based on like the sexuality of who I am, but it's more like
OCD,
my allergies and stuff, and my OCD, obviously. But
I know. I noticed it today when we were talking, and then you had to like scream for me to get out of the kitchen because I spilled something. Get out! Don't touch it.
Don't fucking touch. That's a Cuban thing, though. We just like to clean our own shit.
That wasn't your shit. It was me. It was me that spilled everything, not you. But whatever.
Whatever.
Right. Oh, is there anything else you want to talk about that I may or may not have mentioned? You want to bring something up that I didn't? Did we talk about anything?
Privyeta.
We talked about your OnlyFans, so you can definitely scratch that off your list.
Well, my OnlyFans,
Ooh.
you know, it's whatever.
Oh, hold on.
Just trying to make money. It's really all it is.
Hold on a sec. I do have another question for you because we were talking about it earlier.
Oh my God. ¿Tienes otra pregunta? Pregunta, babayón.
You ready?
Babayón, pregunta.
All right. Dominant or submissive?
Submissive as fuck.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want a fucking man. I want him to fuck me. The fuck? That's a big ass problem there, buddy. I don't want to be fucking. I want them to fuck me.
That's the noise you make. Do it again. Do it again. And the face. Show them the face when you do that. This is what she works when she's having an orgasm.
Yeah, right. They'll feel that tight ass pussy fucking like squeezing on that fucking cock. Like, oh my God.
Wow. We just went from one side to another, huh?
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Is that the termination of your questions? Are you done asking me those questions, sir?
I told you that was the final question I was going to ask you.
Wow.
The dirtiest one is going to be the last one.
Wow. That's been a great fucking episode, right?
I know.
Tell me now.
An hour.
Wow. I hope you guys fucking love this. Like, I really do. And in order to really wrap up today's episode, I am enormously grateful to have Alex here today. And I think that this was a great thing to do because I haven't really had anybody here on my show who's actually reversed the roles where they're actually the interviewer and I'm the interviewee. So I thought that was fairly cool. And when he brought me that idea, I was like, fuck, that's a great idea.
Do that again. Like, can you put the whole mic in there?
No. This is a very expensive microphone. It's actually more expensive than the other shit, but I really enjoyed this episode today. Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, and I'm kind of
fucking awesome, man.
I don't know. I'm kind of scared to see if we're gonna reverse the roles because you know you
Coño binga. Well, you better get ready, bitch, because I got a lot of questions for you.
Yeah, right. We'll see.
Bitch. Yeah. Only if he knows, right?
Do that again, yeah. Like you said, you can interrogate me.
He loves that tongue, though.
show it to your viewers. That's what they like. Hey, I guess she's trying to tell you guys she's really good at oral.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know about anal, but we know about it oral.
Oye, ¿pero qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso, niño? ¿Pero qué es eso, mi niño?
Well, I don't speak Spanish. You gotta translate it in English.
No, you speak in Russian, Russia. Isn't that crazy? Can you say something in Russian? Be like,
what do you want me to say?
I don't know. Be like,
dude, I told you earlier. Do not put me on this podcast. You gotta tell me what you want me to do. You can't be just like, hey, say this. Or, just tell me what to say. Don't be like.
Tell them how much you love like America.
So the funny part about it is, since I am Russian, I had a couple of my exes were Russian, but we were sitting having a conversation, her and a couple of her Russian friends that just came out from Russia, and a question came up: if Russia and the United States was ever to go into the war, whose side would I join?
Oh, okay, that's a good question.
And I looked at them and I was like, well, America, of course. What are you talking about? They're like, what? I'm like, dude, I went to the United States Marine Corps. Why would I go to fight for Russia? I spend majority of my adult life I spent in the military, in the U.S. military. Why would I fight for Russia? You're an idiot. They're like, oh well, we would have thought. I'm like, you thought wrong. Just don't think.
I just like the language. It's like strong, like Cuban, like.
Cuban, he's Spanish.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, it's very dominant. Does that make sense? Like, the lingual of Russian is very dominant. Come on. There you go. Dale.
Давай.
Dale, come on. Tell them good night. Thank you.
Спокойной ночи. И большое спасибо всем.
Oh.
Ooh.
All right, well, thank you again for tuning into Life Trials by EAC with yours truly, here with Alex from, his little special private place. He's an intelligence analyst, and very grateful to have him here today. Thank you again. Bye, guys. Peace out. I love you.